Ja, ich habe gerade so ein bisschen munkeln gehört. In 9 Minuten soll es losgehen. Also die Arbeiten da unten an der Strecke sind bald abgeschlossen. Wir können mal zum Sicherheitsanfüller gehen und sehen hier oben die 4 goldenen Pokale. Wir haben eben schon bei Carlos Sievers gesehen. Der A-Wirtung wird das ähnlich gehandhabt.
It's 10 races down. It's 6 to go. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Porsche Carrera Cup here at the Nürburgring. So good to be here this afternoon on what is a fairly cold and murky day. We enjoyed lots of sunshine yesterday, but we've had a lot of rain overnight. And although it's not raining at the moment, there's every possibility with lots of showers around and the local hills and mountains surrounded in mist. It's good to be here, though. A track that is steeped in tradition, a track that has so much history going for it. And what a great venue it is, alongside the world-famous Nordschleife, the original Nürburgring track, which was nearly 13 miles around. We're to the side of it. On the sprint circuit here, the Nürburgring in this form was built in 1984. It has 11 turns, 4 of them to the left, 7 to the right, and it's 3.629 kilometres around, which is just a little bit more practical than the 21 or so kilometres that the old Nordschleife used to be. So we're here for race 1 of the Porsche Carrera Cup. For this event, we are due at 18 different venues throughout the year, and this is the 5th stop on our tour. And in fact, it's the 6th stop because I can't count. So the 6th stop on our tour. So Nürburgring, today we're going to race, and then another one tomorrow. And then we're off to Hockenheim in mid-September, and then it's the season closer at Sachsenring towards the end of September, and this season has absolutely melted by, and I can't believe we're looking towards the end of it already. You can see the cars lined up on the track there, and you can see what has been some moisture on the camera lens. It looks like it's holding off at the moment, and we had a dry qualification this morning. That man, Larry ten Voorde, who's qualified P3, had a difficult day yesterday. Some issues with a coolant leak meant that he didn't get the setup time that he really wanted. But despite that, still managed to put the car P3 on the grid. Our championship leader sits on pole position. That's Julian Andlauer. And he took the lead of the championship after the Norris Ring round. Second in the championship is Michael Ammermuller, and he starts second on the grid. Third in the championship is Larry ten Voorde, and he starts third on the grid. And fourth in the championship is Dylan Pereira, and he starts fourth on the grid. So there's a definite pattern emerging here. Larry ten Voorde, of course, had ownership of the championship lead for the first half of the season, and looked like he was going to win every race at one point. He won 4 out of the first 5 races, but then has had a couple of weekends that he'd probably rather forget, with his best result being just a P4, which is quite low for him, in the first race at Zandvoort last week, coupled with a non-finish and a 25th and a 26th. His points championship got eaten away, and he got overtaken by Julian Andlauer and Michael Ammermuller. So it's a BWT Lechner front row for this race, and a BWT Lechner in P4. So Larry ten Voorde is feeling a little bit BWT Lechnered by everybody, I should think. So there he is. And that's not him on the screen. There he is, down there on the grid, and waiting for this race to get going. Now, there's a number of marshals and officials have been looking at the track just out in the chicane area of it, which is kind of around turns 9 and 10. And I think there have been some issues with the possibility of the track breaking up a little in the runoff area. So I know they've been looking at that. I don't think there's going to be any delays for repairs or anything. So we look good to go. Looking out the window, it looks as though there may be some moisture in the air. Very, very little amount of moisture, not enough to make a difference, but we don't need that much rain for it all to suddenly go very topsy-turvy. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Other stories, the debut in the Porsche Carrera Cup of Joey Mawson, who has done very well indeed. He's been in the Porsche Mobile Super Cup, and he joins us here for the first time in the Porsche Carrera Cup. You see that bit of track there that I was just talking about, and you can just see where it's got very worn away, and they were just looking at that, and I imagine that overnight there might be some attention that is given to that piece of the track, as we see, very poetically, a paper towel blowing in the wind. Lovely. Anyway, yes, Joey Mawson, race of a Cartec in the 67 Porsche 911, stuck it on P9. Big credit to him to do that on his debut in the Porsche Carrera Cup, a series that is tough by anybody's standards. So to qualify P9, that is no mean feat. And we look out for him and look with much anticipation at what progress he might make. There's your pole sitter. No, it's not. They're listing him as a pole sitter on the screen there, but according to our timing screens, he's P2. So Mikael Ammermuller on the front row, let's put it that way, and in the number 1 car, and Julian Andlauer in the number 2 car. Let's not get those mixed up. And a BWT Lechner front row. And BWT Lechner took a 1-2-3 in race 1 at Zandvoort last weekend. And they will be looking to repeat that. Very, very strong at the moment are the BWT Lechner team. Of course, this is the second in our back-to-back race weekend. We were just 6 days ago in Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Then we packed it all up and we bombed across into Germany to be here at the Nürburgring under the shadow of Nürburg Castle. And what a wonderful setting it is. And what a very different setting it is compared to Zandvoort. A very different kind of track, very different kind of setup, which means the drivers need to be quite versatile in what they do and how they carry on. So 5 minutes till we get going. So we are a little bit delayed on this, and I don't think there are any issues with needing to change to wet tyres at the moment. So we look at Tony Wolff in the Car Collection Motorsport Porsche 911, and he's done very well, putting it on P5. Great driving. So we're just looking up at the skies, and it looks like we should be dry. Fingers crossed. The gorgeous Tony Wolff car. And, yeah, brilliant to stick that up there. His best result so far being a P6 at the Red Bull Ring. And that was back in the sunshine of June. There's the Larry Ten Voorde fan club. They go everywhere, they do. The very, very popular Dutch driver. And there he is, in person. You can see the whites of his eyes as he gets ready to get this thing rolling. So, other stories of interest. At the last race, you will have remembered Sandro Kaibach had a monumental accident, and we saw him riding up the tyre barrier and ending up on his roof. And not often you see a Porsche 911 rolling over, but it was a big impact. Very pleased to say that Sandro Kaibach escaped completely uninjured. The person who copped the penalty for that, though, was his teammate, Leon Kohler. So Leon Kohler was deemed to be responsible for taking his teammate out and was disqualified from that race. And the team have handed Kohler's car to Sandro Kaibach and said, sorry, mate, here, use his car instead. So Sandro Kaibach lines up in Leon Kohler's car. And Leon Kohler gets to watch this one from the terraces, I'm very sad to say. So I expect Leon will be back for the next race. So Sandro Kaibach has put that onto P19. but he's in an unfamiliar car, and his existing car, his current car, being repaired after that monumental shunt at Zandvoort. As we look at Julian Andlauer there on pole position for BWT Lechner. And you can see from the 2 little trophies that are painted on the side of the car, he's had 2 wins. Unlike Michael Ammermuller, top of the points, who should have 4 trophies on the top of his car. And that team, very hopeful that their sign writer is going to have more work to do this week for all the right reasons. There's Larry ten Voorde, the man who had a vice-like grip on this championship for the first half of the season and looking to regain some of that momentum that he's lost. Stay strong. Yeah, he's definitely a sense of losing momentum, having won 4 of the first 5 and then got a P4, and then it all went a bit downhill from there. The other BWT Lechner car, driven by Dylan Pereira, which lines up P4 on the grid. Unusual because it's not pink. We don't recognise it. It's not pink. So Dylan Pereira in the blue car, and Tony Wolff, great job in the Car Collection Motorsport Porsche, lines up P5. And alongside him, that man who was a right personality in Zandvoort last week, working very hard to impress in front of his home crowd, and that's Jaap van Lagen. And there he is, the Dutch driver, trying very hard last weekend, possibly a little too hard in places for Falk Racing. Lines it up P6 today. So good job by Jaap van Lagen, and we look forward to seeing what he can do from there. The distinctive smile of Jaap van Lagen as you hear the siren, which indicates that it's time to start those engines, because we are very, very shortly about to commence 20 laps of racing for the Porsche Carrera Cup, race 1 here at the Nürburgring. The roar of the cars springing into life. And there's an air of tension as the grid is clear. 30-second board given. So, the first of 2 races. 1 today, 1 tomorrow. That's what it looks like from the outside, front row. Michael Ammermuller. And that's what Larry ten Voorde looks like when he's ready to go racing. There's your pole sitter, Julian Andlauer. Just thinking about how he's going to go into that first corner, what his tactic's going to be. Okay, revs up, we're on to the formation lap. Away we go. And in these conditions, just 16 degrees in the air, track temperature around 18 degrees. Critical lap this to get the heat into the tyres and into the brakes. Everything will be stone cold. And these drivers have got just 3.6 kilometres to get some heat into those tyres and into those brakes. And that's not very much time to do it, because we don't want them approaching turn 1, which is a very tight, almost hairpin, with a really snazzy camber on the exit of it. We don't want them approaching that corner with cold brakes and cold tyres. Let's have a look at the starting grid. So, Julian Andlauer, our points leader and pole position man, alongside teammate Michael Ammermuller, Larry ten Voorde and Dylan Pereira on row 2. Row 3, Tony Wolff and Jaap van Lagen. What a character. Igor Veliko doing well for row 4 alongside David Kolkman. At row 5, Joey Mawson on his debut with Henrik Skoog. Luca Rettenbacher and our lead rookie Jackson Evans on P12. P13, Tim Zimmerman, who had a trip into the gravel trap during qualifying, and Gustav Malja, with Jean-Baptiste Simenauer for Lechner Racing alongside Janis Fitcher. Rudy Van Buren and Berke Besler line up on row 9 with Sandra Kaibach in Leon Kohler's car alongside Nicholas Skoll. Lucas Ertl and Reese Barr line up on row 11 with Richard Wagner and Alex Arkin-Acker, row 12. Carlos Rivas and Stefan Repkov on row 13 with Louis Henkefen and Georgi Donchev on row 14. Row 15, Matthias Jeserik, Andreas Czepanski. And that concludes our 30 runners and riders for this race as we get ready for 20 laps of excitement. It's the Porsche Carrera Cup race here at the Nürburgring, and we're very excited. You can see the headlights blazing. You can see the championship, Julian Andlau with the slimmest of leads over teammate Michael Ammermuller, and Larry ten Voorde by no means out of touch. Really, in reality, the championship has got to be between those three, one would say. Dylan Pereira, a distant P4 in the championship, and it would take something of an upset, I think, for him to jump to the front. But stranger things have happened. Feel free to quote that back to me at the end of the season. So here we go, that last few moments to get some heat into those tyres. Absolutely critical this lap. And onto the grid they come. Julian Andlauer doesn't want to be sat stationary for too long. We see a couple of the cars. Larry ten Voorde's got his windscreen wiper going, and he had that going all the way through qualifying as well. So even when it wasn't raining, so maybe he's anticipating the wet stuff. So it means we can spot him in a crowd. Oh, and there's another one further back. It's got a windscreen wiper going as well. So, moisture in the air. Is this going to be a dry race? That is the question. Our pole sitter, Julian Andlauer, on the outside. Second, Michael Ammermuller on the inside. The man with the green flag, looking cheerful. Yes, he says, we're ready to go. Track temperatures down to 7.6 degrees. Declared as wet, doesn't look too wet. 5 red lights on, go! We are racing. Michael Ammermuller steps off pole position and into the lead. Sorry, Andlauer steps into the lead. Michael Ammermuller into P2, and there's a lock-up behind. And into turn 1, they all come. That really tight turn. Cars 3 and 4 abreast. Are they all going to get round? Julian Andlauer doing very well to get off pole position and into the first set of corners. And the roar of 30 Porsche 911s. Wonderful sound. Larry ten Voorde going very wide then. Looked like Dylan Pereira just nipping through on the inside. We'll have another look in a minute. No, it wasn't Dylan Pereira. It was Tony Wolff, in fact, who found a route past on the inside of Larry ten Voorde. So Tony Wolff having a great start to the day so far. Only one lap, or only on the first lap, not even one lap completed. We're going to wait for them to settle down. We'll see how they cross. And that's Carlos Rivas. He's had a spin. Don't know if that's contact or whatever it was, but he is stranded and at the back. And if that car doesn't get going, it's almost certainly going to be a safety car. And you can see damage. So clearly he's had an issue. Let's have a look here. And looks unusual angle to be spearing off, but he's made big contact with the fence, and that car's not going to be going much further today, I don't suppose. Let's see on board with him. Looks like he just overcooks it, gets collected, and into the fence. I think it was Henkefeld who might have got into him, and that's Henkefeld who's got the smoke coming from the rear of his car. So the Louis Henkefeld car probably is the one who made contact with Carlos Rivas. And another car into the barrier. That's the number 4 car, Soren Spreng. So this is almost certainly going to bring out a safety car now, without a doubt, I'd say. So through the gravel trap and into the barrier. Looks like he's gone in quite hard there. That's on the exit of turn 11. And good to see that he's out of the car and well. But surely that's going to be a safety car, is it not? I don't know. Rudy Van Buren there looking back from his car, and Jean-Baptiste Simonau just behind him, so that's quite a lot further back in the field. And we're into lap 2. We see contact, and was that contact from Jean-Baptiste Simonau getting it into Rudy's car, and very, very competitive and close there. And that's the 17 car, so that's Lucas Oertel also into the gravel trap. So there are cars that are spinning right, left and centre, which indicates that quite possibly we've got a bit of moisture on the track. So it took its time, but the safety car is out. So 2 laps in the book, just coming up straight, and headlights blazing through the misty conditions here. Atmospheric, if nothing else, getting you ready for the autumn here on this August afternoon. The safety car is out at the Nürburgring. And the cars are brought back to a crawling pace. Julian Andlauer leads them along. And Rudy Van Buren there in the fence needs to be retrieved, as does Lucas Oertel. Louis Henkerfend, don't know what's happened to him. Just keep an eye out for him as he had the smoke pouring from him. And of course, Carlos Rivas also is having some issues. So when this is all shaken out, we shall see who has survived and who hasn't. So we've got at least 5 cars on our radar. Lucas Oertel definitely going no further. The heavy lifting gear is out, ready to be unceremoniously winched from the circuit. Back into Parc Fermé. So not a great start to the day for him. Whilst we've got a break in proceedings, let's just have a look at our leading rookie. And surprise, surprise, it's that man, Jackson Evans, who is having a stonking 2020. And that looks like the Louis Henkerfend car that's been worked on to me. And it looks like he had a bit of contact that caused the bodywork to foul with the tyre there. And that explains why there was a lot of smoke. And the obligatory gaffer tape is applied liberally to hold the car together. And just having a look at a replay of the 2 cars going off. And you could just see Rudy Van Buren getting together. Just trying to see who that was that he got together with Soren Spreng into the fence, and not as hard an impact as we thought, but it is Rudy Van Buren, I beg your pardon, not Soren Spreng, making some interesting hand gestures, and that's a spinner. That's Alex Arcanacker pointing in the wrong direction. So just does suggest that track conditions are far from ideal as Alex Arcanacker rejoins at the back. So safety car is out, and incident between car 4 and 15 is under investigation. So we shall see whether there is any penalty. Berke Besler was the other one that was involved in that. And the number 4 car of Rudy Van Buren. Apologies to Soren Spreng. I forgot he wasn't actually in the seat this weekend. And Lucas Oertel walks away from his car, which is being suspended from the forklift truck. So, 4 laps down, 16 to go. And that's Luca Rettenbacher, who's definitely racing in an opposite direction to what he's meant to be in. Don't know what's happened there to the 92 car. So, another one in the MSG HRT Motorsport Porsche. Fortunately, he's managed to get that to safety himself. So, maybe a mechanical issue, I don't know. Right, this is the replay of the start. We can have a look, and Rettenbacher was very promptly out of the blocks. I'm wondering if that was a jump start. He was certainly very quick away. And it was Andlauer who led him into the first corner. Looking at the rest of the field, 4 abreast into that corner. That really shouldn't work. And you can see the Mikael Ammermuller understeering like mad into the corner. Whether he just took too much speed in or what, but he went very, very deep in. And was very lucky not to get involved in an incident. Looking back from the lead car. And you can see how close Ammermuller got and then went very wide. Just took a lot of speed into that first corner and went very, very deep. And Tony Wolff, great start from him. So this is what it looked like on board from Ammermuller in that P2 position. You can see that Andlauer just comes across and shuts the door on him, as you'd expect. Ammermuller goes down low into the corner, hits the brakes. Ooh, that was almost going to be a big BWT Lechner problem. David Coltman, we're riding on board with him. We can see the 37 car smoking the brakes. Brake lights on. Those first few laps are so tense, aren't they? Great skills from these drivers. That's number 20 coming in on the inside, Henrik Skoog. David Coltman and 67 of Joey Mawson getting together. You can see how hard he's working that steering wheel. On board with Tim Zimmerman. Looking to the outside. And you can see 3 cars bouncing off each other. That's Jackson Evans on the inside and Luca Rettenbacher in the middle. I wonder if maybe that contact's got something to do with the issue that he's had that's caused him to retire. But, gosh, you just see how sketchy it is in those first few laps. Working your way through the traffic. Right, safety cars in on this lap. So, Julian Andlauer backs the field up. Mikael Ammermuller right on his rear quarter, ready to pounce. You can see Andlauer trying to put heat into the tyres, but also trying to catch everybody else snoozing. They pick up a bit of curb out of the chicane into turn 11. And Andlauer is racing already. He's on the power. Out of 11 they come. Onto the pit straight. And the green flags are bat out. Quarter of the race gone. Lap 6 of 20. And it's Andlauer in the lead from Ammermuller. We see Dylan Pereira looking to the inside. He goes to the outside. That's Tony Wolff. He's on the outside. And who's that? The spun. It is Larry Ten Voorde. I thought it was. Larry Ten Voorde spins around going into turn 1. So Larry Ten Voorde, his aims at getting back to the top of the championship are very, very quickly evaporating. The number 13 car spinning into turn 1. That's Igor Veliko on the inside. Looks like just looking, and it was contact from Veliko. That's Dylan Pereira on the outside of him. So Igor Veliko getting involved as well. So Larry Ten Voorde spun around, lucky not to be collected by the rest of the field. So Igor Veliko was the one who had got involved with him, and Larry Ten Voorde relegated a long way down the grid now. Bang, that's the moment that Igor Veliko got involved, and Larry Ten Voorde is sat there watching the whole field come streaming through. And now having to join right down at the back of the pack. And it'll be interesting to see if Veliko picks up any sort of penalty for that. So we continue. Andlauer pulling out a good lead. There's quite a battle going on further back. Is that Veliko? No, it's Henrik Skoog, beg your pardon, on the outside of the 67 car of Joey Mawson. Remember, he's in his first race here and driving very, very well indeed. Looks like Jackson Evans is involved there as well. So a lot of action going on further back there. There's Henrik Skoog. There's Joey Mawson in front. And that's Coltman, David Coltman. There's a debris flying up in the air. That looked like someone's tyre. I don't know if it was. Riding on board with David Coltman, we can see the back of the Henrik Skoog car. And now looking back. So there's Skoog, there's Coltman, and there's Jackson Evans, our leading rookie, who is rapidly looking to join the back of the queue. And they've got a good gap over Jean-Baptiste Simonau, who's behind them. So this is the key battle of the race at the moment. On board with Coltman. Looking at the back of the Henrik Skoog car, who's looking at the back of the Joey Mawson car. That's Dylan Pereira. Now he's closed up on Mikael Ammermuller. The BWT Lechner 1-2-3. Remember that from before. Let's just have a look here at a replay. What are we looking at here? And that is Dylan Pereira finding a route past Tony Wolff. So good driving from Dylan Pereira, making it a BWT Lechner 1-2-3. Now what we need is for them not to take each other out. We've seen that before. So I should think Walter Lechner will be sat there with his fingers crossed and everything else crossed. It's a 1-2-3 yet again for BWT Lechner. That's the 87 car, Richard Wagner, into the gravel trap. This could very easily bring out another safety car. So, he is stranded. Not sure which part of the track that is, but that's not a great place to be stopped in the gravel trap. Let's have a look. It looks like it might be, yes it is, turn 1. So, Wagner's gone spinning, scattered a billboard, and see him scooting across the gravel trap there. He was carrying a lot of speed. It was the end of the straight, so the fastest part of the track, really. Didn't quite make it into the tyre barriers, but as we thought, safety car is back out. And the incident between Igor Veliko and Larry ten Voorde is under investigation. We kind of figured that might happen. But Richard Wagner having another weekend he'd rather forget. So, safety cars deployed. That looks like Alex Arkin-Acker to me, who might be out of the cars, what it looks like. And looks like he's another retirement. So, we're behind the safety car yet again. Richard Wagner walks away. Had a fairly troubled weekend in Zandvoort last week. And once again, wanders back to the garage and his car disappears, having been hauled out of the gravel trap. So, 9 laps are in the book. We haven't even reached halfway yet. And looking like we've lost Lucas Oertel, Rudy Van Buren, Luca Rettenbacher, I think Louis Henkefend, Alex Arkin-Acker, and Richard Wagner now. So, a lot of drivers have dropped out of this already. We're not in halfway, but safety car's going to be in this lap, and I think Wagner just going to go and put his feet up. Have a little rest. So, we're waiting for the safety car to come in any second. You can see it leading the field around turn 7 into turn 8. And Julian Andlauer just holding back once again, allowing the safety car to disappear into the distance. And Julian Andlauer becomes effectively the safety car. See him weaving to put heat in his tyres, but also to hopefully catch Emma Muller snoozing. And you see him suddenly straighten up and hit the power. And Andlauer is off racing, and you see them just taking so much curb. Quite incredible. Out of the chicane and out of turn 11 onto the pit straight. And the green flags are waving. The first 3 already breaking away from the pack. It's Andlauer first across the line. That's the 67 car of Joey Mawson dropping to the inside with Henrik Skoog on his outside. So Skoog looking to make a challenge, not quite making it stick. So all the cars through the tricky first corner. We're halfway through this race. And it's BWT Lechner, 1, 2, 3. There you can see them, absolutely glued together. Tony Wolff, brilliant, P4, doing really well. Jaap van Lagen into P5, Joey Mawson behind him. So, Jaap van Lagen normally likes to win or crash trying. So, Jaap van Lagen, keep an eye on him. Always good for a bit of excitement. Tony Wolff, there he is. You see them picking up the dust. And the headlights, last race of the day here at Nürburgring, and the light's fading already despite it being effectively midsummer. We see debris and rubber being picked up and thrown off the track. Just impressed with how these Porsche 911s ride the curb. We can see behind a couple of place changes. See, absolutely bumping over the curb, giving it everything. Wow, what a great shot that is. You see how much these cars have been thrown around. Looking here at a replay, what are we going to see here? Yeah, that's Joey Mawson ducking to the inside. Henrik Skoog going with him. And coming back up into line. And the first three into turn one. You see the remnants of the billboard that got crashed into earlier. And look at how much curb and Lara's taking now. Almost all four wheels off the racing track. Just bumping across the curb. And that's part of the bodywork that we saw flapping. I'm not surprised the way they go over these curbs. So that's part of someone's car. Possibly one of the BWT cars. Yes, you see it there. Being picked up and thrown around. These cars taking such a lot of hammer. What a great advert for Porsche this is. They build them strong, you know. Julian Andlauer leading the way. Mikael Ammermuller waiting for any opportunity. And Dylan Pereira just a little bit back, but by no means out of this. It's currently a BWT Lechner 1-2-3. Yet more debris flying up in the air. But these three breaking clear of Tony Wolff, who's in fourth. Across the curbs they go. Surely the cars can't take this stick for the whole race, can they? Jaap van Lagen. And here's Skoog coming through, three abreast. That's Jean-Baptiste Simenauer. And is that Larry ten Voorde working his way? Yes, it is. Larry ten Voorde, who, if you remember, was involved in that spin. There's Jackson Evans in there as well. What a battle this lot are having. This is the first three. Dylan Pereira looking on the outside of Ammermuller now. So Dylan Pereira suddenly turning the heat up. He's got his eyes on that position. And Larry ten Voorde coming through the field like a dose of salt. So Larry ten Voorde back up to P9. Riding on board with Tim Zimmerman, looking at the back of the Jackson Evans car. Our leading rookie, Jackson Evans. And that's Jean-Baptiste Simenauer going to the inside. And we can see him on the inside, Larry ten Voorde. Larry working so hard to try and work his way back, but letting cars through in his attempts to do so. Jackson Evans is now right with Larry ten Voorde. So, lots of chopping and changing of places here. Jackson Evans. He might be a rookie, but he's no spring violet, is he? Igor Veliko into the pits. Looks like he's got a problem. That's looking very, very terminal, isn't it? So Veliko, car's up on Jax. And it looks like Veliko's race might be over. So, there's Henrik Skoog. So Jean-Baptiste Simenauer and Larry ten Voorde. Don't know if there was contact there, but Larry ten Voorde has got a sense of urgency about him because his points lead is dwindling every race at the moment and he needs to stop the rot because those BWT cars are pulling away from him. So there's Larry ten Voorde. He must think he spends his life looking at the back of pink BWT cars because that's Jean-Baptiste Simenauer in front of him. And in front of Jean-Baptiste Simenauer is Henrik Skoog, who was properly distraught last week when he ended up in the gravel trap and looking to make amends for that this week. Great battle between these three. Jackson Evans really impressing in his debut season in the Porsche Carrera Cup. So Henrik Skoog holding off the pressure at the moment in P8. Jean-Baptiste Simenauer in P9 and Larry ten Voorde 10th. Simenauer looks to the inside, just making sure that he's filling the mirrors of that Skoog car. Skoog out of turn 11 onto the pit straight and giving nothing away. Dylan Pereira looking very eager into turn 1. Is he going to make this stick? He backs out of it, surely. Mikael Ammermuller just goes wide. Dylan Pereira's through. Dylan Pereira into P2. Brilliant driving. Great that they didn't get together. So Dylan Pereira moves up one, relegates Mikael Ammermuller down to P3. He's not going to be happy about that. So Mikael Ammermuller's got it all to do. So Dylan Pereira, has he got anything for Andlauer, or is he going to be too busy defending from Ammermuller? Brilliant racing from these three. Make it 4. Tony Wolff joining in. We have a replay here. So Pereira goes to the inside. And Ammermuller just goes very deep into the corner. Probably very mindful of Nürburgring, where they all came together in a big heap. And probably very keen not to let that happen again. Gave Dylan Pereira the room that he needed. And Pereira sticking it to the outside. And passed it into P2. Brilliant stuff. Okay, you'll see from your screens that we've now gone to a timed race because of the safety cars. So, we're no longer counting the laps, we're counting the time. So, less than 6 minutes left of this race. It's Julian Andlauer who's leading from Dylan Pereira, who's man on a mission. And Dylan Pereira is now the fastest man on the track, lapping about 100th quicker than Julian Andlauer. So not a great deal, but still winding him in. And he's got 5 minutes to do that as we see Stefan Raykopf on the outside of Matthias Jeserik. So that's quite a long way further back down towards the back of the grid, but still good battles right the way through this. So the number 10 car of Matthias Jeserik and the 33 car, Stefan Raykopf, glued together. And Jeserik, of course, is our leading rookie. Sorry, leading amateur. Get me rookies and the amateurs mixed up. So, doing very, very well, holding off the attentions of Raykopf, who is also one of the amateurs. So, great battle between these two. So, it might be for P19. And Pereira onto Julian Andlauer. Seriously putting the heat on now. Less than 4.5 minutes left of this race, and Pereira looking racier than ever. And Tony Wolff also getting very close to joining in the battle. He's got his eyes on Mikael Ammermuller's final podium position. So Julian Andlauer comes. Dylan Pereira crosses the line. 3 tenths between them. You can see the gap. Pereira looks to the inside. That's where he made it stick last time. Can he make that happen again? Andlauer not leaving as much space as Ammermuller did. So Julian Andlauer not wishing to surrender the lead of this race by any stretch of the imagination, as we see Jeserik and Raykopf alongside each other. Raykopf through onto the inside, but goes deep, and car 10 coming back at him. So the two racing side by side. Great clean racing here. So the number 33 car sticking to the front. That's Stefan Raykopf holding off Matthias Jeserik. And at the front, there's not a lot separating the 3 BWT Lecter cars. Just over 3 minutes of this race left. The cars continue into turn 8. And down the long stretch, another overtaking opportunity. Pereira closer than ever. Surely going to line him up in the chicane. Out onto the pit straight very, very shortly out of turn 11. This could be the opportunity. Dylan Pereira, will he duck to the inside like he's done on the previous laps? Or will he do something different? Ammermuller is ready to pick up the pieces if these two get together. So Pereira tucks up behind Julian Andlauer. Goes to the inside. It's exactly what we thought he might do. Under braking. Can he make it stick? He's got his nose in front. And it's Dylan Pereira, Julian Andlauer side by side. And they make contact again. Mikael Ammermuller making contact with Dylan Pereira. He had visions of jumping through from P3 and into the lead. Backs out of it. So Dylan Pereira back down to P2. Tony Wolff joining the battle. What a great battle for the lead this is. So Julian Andlauer, 2 minutes to go, holding on by the skin of his teeth. We're looking on board here, and you can see the contact Oh, visions of Nürburgring flashing before our eyes all over again. You can see here Ammermuller and Pereira was just trying to shut the door on Ammermuller. And very pleased that he backed out of that, because that could have ended in a lot of tears. Fortunately, doesn't look like either of the cars are damaged. And Walter Lechner's like, no, I'm having none of this. That's a great shot. And Ammermuller's dropped back slightly. I wonder if he has just maybe bent the steering or picked up anything, or maybe he's had a word of warning over the radio, who knows. But the lead pair have just broken away slightly. Pereira still wants to win this, doesn't he? And who knows, Ammermuller might be in with a shout if these two get together. In fact, Tony Wolff might be in with a shout. And Jaap van Lagen making it a five-way battle for the lead. So, Mr. Excitement, Jaap van Lagen joins the back of the leaders. There's Dylan Pereira. And you see debris from cars lying on the track. What a wonderful battle this has been. Totally gripping race. It's not over yet. There's still 30 seconds of this race left. We're on the final lap. Julian Andlauer just needs to hold it together in the last lap, the last sections of the last lap. Surely there's no way Dylan Pereira can get past him now. Andlauer really just needs to put the car in all the right places. He's got the speed. He's done all the hard work. Any kamikaze moves by Julian Andlauer now will surely end in disaster. Tony Wolff, though, he's still got his eyes on that P3, last podium position. Absolutely monstering Mikael Ammermuller. And Jaap van Lagen still there. And credit to Mawson in P6, done a great job. Anyway, out of turn 11, and across the finish line, Julian Andlauer wins. Dylan Pereira in second, Mikael Ammermuller in P3. The BWT Lechner team breathe a monstrous sigh of relief. Can't help feeling there might be a few words had over the dinner table tonight. Walter Lechner walks towards the podium area. Julian Andlauer doing so well to win that race. Absolute entertainment, beginning to end. Really, really good stuff. And Julian Andlauer, the winner of that race. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Brilliant. Total entertainment from the Porsche Carrera Cup. Great bit is we get to do it all again tomorrow, because we've got another race. Larry Ten Voorde, after that spin, comes home in P9, so another race that he is going to be wondering what might have been. There's Andlauer. And such a display of dominance by the BWT Lechner. I shall just forever have that image of my mind of Walter Lechner waving his hand in front of his neck going, that's enough. We'll have no more of that. There you go. There's your official result. 18 laps in the bag. It was Julian Andlauer making it a 1-2-3 for Lechner Racing. Dylan Pereira second. Mikael Ammermuller in third. Tony Wolff, brilliant drive into P4. You can see Larry Ten Voorde only getting back to P9. And Jackson Evans, our leading rookie once again. And our leading AM driver, Stefan Raykopf. Brilliant driving from Matthias Jeserik and Georgi Donchev, Andres Szczepanski and Carlos Riva. So the AM drivers all finishing in a row. There's the DNF list. Some damage to be repaired overnight, ready for the second race tomorrow. You see the mist closing in on the Nürburgring at what feels like a fairly autumnal kind of day, really. There's a replay of them crossing the line. That's the order they crossed in. Dylan Pereira probably thinking that it was wiser just to back out of it. So great racing from these guys. Adlauer takes the P1 position in Parc Fermé in the pit lane, and he's got to be happy with that. So, flag to flag victory for the BWT Lechner driver. Handshakes to Dylan Pereira. And the team can breathe a sigh of relief. And Ammermuller looking at the front corner of his car and shaking his head. And I can't help feeling there was perhaps a little bit of tension between him and Dylan Pereira. So, the second 1-2-3 in less than a week. There you go. Julian Andlauer, 18.5 points ahead of Mikael Ammermuller. Larry Ten Voorde, seeing that monstrous lead he had earlier in the year, slipping away and bit by bit, and he must wonder what he's got to do to get back in the hunt. So yes, this time last week, it was a 1-2-3 for Lechner Racing, and a week later, it's a 1-2-3 for Lechner Racing. See a pattern developing here, can't you? That's the rest of the points championship. And as we hone in on the end of the championship, really is hard to call who is going to end up taking the victory in the championship. It'd be a brave man who bets against it being a Lechner driver there, isn't it? So, BWT Lechner team, look on. And there's your P3 finisher, possibly carrying a little bit of damage. Mikael Ammermuller in the number 1 BWT Lechner Porsche 911. P2 for Lechner Racing, Dylan Pereira. And a flag-to-flag victory. Julian Andlauer extending his championship lead with victory. Race 1 here at Nürburgring. So, I'm not sure who that was. One of our drivers hitching a lift back to the pits in the safety car. Well, I would. We escaped the rain. Now that's a result, particularly after last week, where we had so much wind and rain. A dry race saw Julian Andlauer win from Dylan Pereira, Mikael Ammermuller, Tony Wolff, Jaap van Lagen, Joey Mawson. What a great start for him. And Larry Ten Voorde bringing it home in P9 after that spin. Jackson Evans, our leading rookie. And Ammermuller not looking entirely full of the joys of spring, it has to be said. Unlike Julian Andlauer, who really does. And Dylan Pereira looking sheepish, and Walter Lechner looking like he's going to have a word. Good to see handshakes. And it's national anthem. There's your winner, Julian Andlauer. Now they kick the champagne over. Look at that, an all pink podium. And a very nice trophy. P2 trophy presented by Mikael Malander. And the P3 trophy presented by Huriar Isaac. And there's Walter Lechner receiving his trophy from Dr. Matthias Roth. Right, you've only got half a bottle left now. I'd say that was a jump start, wouldn't you? Drive-through penalty for the team boss, and he copped one in the face, which is probably all that he deserved for jumping the green light there. The Mikael Ammermuller gets his revenge. Brilliant stuff. So, that was the Porsche Carrera Super Cup. Not that it wasn't, it was the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany. I beg your pardon. We enjoyed that very much, and we have got more to come tomorrow. Stunning racing from these Porsche 911s. I do hope you're going to join us tomorrow for more of the same. Please do. We look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.